Listen up, you filthy maggots! It's time for the Veterans Connection on WHTL.
Sir, yes, sir.
I can't hear you.
Sir, yes, sir.
Attention! You serve your country. You made the sacrifice. The Veterans Connection is here to help. So fall in line, dirtbags.
Sir, yes, sir.
What's that? I can't hear you.
Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Now pay attention. The Veterans Connection is brought to you by the Trempealeau County Council of the American Legion, International Ingredients, Reedy Concrete and Construction, Fireworks over Blair, Mondovi Insurance Agency. Now listen up. The Veterans Connection starts right now.
Well, and it does, and good morning again, and I get to welcome Hunter Rudnic into the studio. Good morning, Hunter.
Good morning, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing for the end of April?
You know, if I were any better, I'd be suspicious, Mark.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can relate to that. Anyway, here, I don't know. It's hard to believe that it's the end of April already. This year already just flying by.
Mm-hmm, crazy. Every time I look at my calendar every morning, it's like, holy cow, where'd the year go already?
I know. Did you get any serious weather over by where you are yesterday?
We had some winds and some big rain in Black River and quite a bit of lightning, but no tornadoes that I know of. We were all right. Didn't even have any sticks down in the backyard, so I was kind of surprised when I woke up this morning to see that. But
yeah, I was kind of surprised, too. You know, most of the serious weather, I think, tended to miss us to the north yesterday. Of course, up by Eau Claire and Augusta, Foster, I know they had tornadoes spotted up there, so
yeah,
hopefully not too much damage.
My parents live on Lake Eau Claire up by Augusta, and they had a funnel cloud that was trying to come down right across the lake from them. They watched it for about 20 minutes, but they ended up being all right, so a little spooky.
Fascinating. I don't know if you've ever seen tornadoes, but they are fascinating. I grew up out in tornado country out in Colorado, eastern Colorado, Oklahoma, and they're fascinating, I got to tell you. You don't want to be in the way of one. But
yeah, that's what my mom said. She said it was awesome to watch, but it was humbling at the same time.
It makes you realize the power of Mother Nature, and it's incredible.
Right.
Veterans Connection today, and of course, you've got a very important topic that you want to talk about today.
I do. Yeah, I just want to go over a few things when it comes to death benefits for veterans and their spouses specifically. It's a benefit that not a lot of people think of, and I do quite a bit of it. Luckily, I've done enough outreach where people know, like, hey, I tell veterans when they come into my office, you know, when you pass away, make sure that somebody knows that they have to come see me, and we got to go over these benefits. So there's a few different things that I kind of wanted to go over today when it comes to that. First one being, so there is a burial stipend that the VA has. I get asked all the time, well, how much is it? It ranges anywhere from about $200 all the way up to $2,000. Part of the stipend is pays a stipend towards the actual grave site, and there's another part that pays for transportation, and there's a few different things that go into it. But what we need for that, because I get a lot of calls in my office right after a veteran dies, like, hey, my spouse who's a veteran passed away yesterday. What do I need to do? There is nothing that we can do in the Veterans Service Office until we have a death certificate.
So you need to get that from the attending physician or the coroner. That needs to be obtained right away.
Yep, and anybody that's gone through the process of, and I hope nobody has to anytime soon, but anybody that's gone through the process of one of their family members dying knows, like, you have to have about 10 of them death certificates, because everybody seems like they need one when you're applying for benefits. But in my office, I take a copy of it, I scan it into my computer, and I actually give back the original. But that death certificate is kind of the first thing that we need. The other thing that we need to do for the funeral stipend is an itemized receipt from the funeral home. We have to be able to show what was paid for, how much was paid for, and that kind of dictates how much the stipend actually is.
So it varies depending on the cost of the funeral.
Kind of, depending on what you paid for. If you didn't pay for transportation of the body from point A to point B, then you don't get the stipend for transportation.
Sure.
If there is no actual grave site, it's a plot allowance. If there is no burial plot, then you don't get the stipend for the burial plot. If you're gonna, if they're cremated and you're gonna have them at home or somewhere else to spread the ashes, there's no plot allowance that you're entitled to. So that's why they need that itemized receipt. So that's important. Normally, the funeral homes around here know that they should give that, and they're usually pretty good. If you don't have it or you got given it and you lost it, they can reprint one for us. But those are the two things that we really need. It's easier if the veteran has a file in my office where I already have a DD-214 and I can look at the veteran's VA file in the VA system. I can get most of the other stuff that I need. But the death certificate and the itemized receipt from the funeral home are the two big things.
And the other thing you just mentioned was what I was going to ask about for a spouse. You need that DD-214.
Yeah, that is
that's like with American Idol. That's like the golden ticket to everything.
It really is. I actually, that's what I call it in the office, is the DD-214 is the golden ticket. There's not a whole lot that we can do benefits-wise if we don't have a DD-214. Or some discharge papers, because back before probably the 60s, 70s, it was called a different form. It wasn't always the DD-214. And it seems like every time I look at one, if they're over 10 years old, they're different. Stuff is in different places. But the discharge papers are very, very important. I can't do a whole lot without them. If you don't have them, there are ways that we can get them. I have about 3 or 4 different places that I can personally check. It is a kind of a common misconception I get asked all the time. Okay, you just look at the list. Like, there is no mass list that I have access to, unfortunately. I wish there was. I wish I could just open up a file, Control F, and find everybody's DD-214, but unfortunately, it doesn't exist, or if it does exist, I don't have access to it. So we can request those from the National Personnel Records Center down in St. Louis. I will say that if you can request just the DD-214, or you can request like the entire file. If you request the entire file, it can take quite a long time to get. When I first started in 2020, when did I start? 2023? Yeah, 2023, when I first started. I received one in the office that had been requested by my predecessor in 2020, so they can take a long, long time because it's all paper records down there, so they got to dig through everything and find them.
So you requested in 2020, and all of a sudden 2023 shows up, and you go, "What's this?"
Right. Yep. And then try to look in the file, like, "Oh man, were these requested by us? I don't know why they showed up here." But usually, it doesn't usually take that long. Sometimes it can, but there's other ways that we can get them too. If you there's a couple little workarounds that I've found. If you do a claim and you're looking for like the service treatment records, the medical records from service, if you do a claim, the VA will actually pull those records into the veteran's file, and that's kind of a workaround way that we can get access to those files. But the DD-214, if you only request the DD-214, we can usually get it relatively quickly within a month or two.
So for veterans who are listening, older veterans especially, from Korea, or even veterans or families from World War II. There are still some of those. If you have a hard time, you may not have a DD-214, but you'd have other discharge papers. If you can't find those, you can find those for them?
Yep. Yeah, we can definitely help and try to find them. The only way that they're unavailable, there was a fire down at the National Personnel Records Center in like the 80s, I think, where some records did get burned. And I've had a couple cases where people come to my office and, "Hey, I need to find my records," and we send off and there's no records to be found. And those ones are kind of special circumstances that we deal with on a one-on-one basis. But in general, we can find those records.
So the best way to get the benefits started once somebody has passed, work through the Veteran Service Office. That's a great way to get her done.
Absolutely, yeah. And the one other benefit that I wanted to talk about too that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, it's called dependent indemnity compensation. So there's a couple different ways that the spouses of veterans can be eligible for dependent indemnity compensation. We call it DIC. So what DIC is, if a veteran passes away from a service-connected condition, the spouse can continue to get paid for some of that money that they were getting, that the veteran was getting for their VA disability compensation. Easy example, coronary artery disease is a presumptive condition for Vietnam.
Right.
If the veteran is service-connected for coronary artery disease and they pass away, and coronary artery disease is listed on the death certificate as the primary cause of death, we can file for that veteran's spouse for DIC, and they could get granted DIC and continue to receive, it's somewhere around $1,500 to $1,700 a month. So it can be a pretty good amount of money.
Substantial, yeah.
And the reason that the VA does that is if a veteran's 100% service connected, and they're used to receiving that, $4,000 a month that 100% service connection is, and then they pass away, and that $4,000 just stops. The spouse can be, kind of high and dry. Okay, I'm used to having this $4,000 a month, and now it's gone. So they make up some of that with the DIC. DIC can sometimes be an uphill battle. I've had my longest DIC case that I fought was over 1.5 years, and we finally got it to go through. But it's a pretty cool benefit. So you can either have passed away from something that you were service connected for, or if the veteran is 100% service connected for 10 years or more, they're the spouse is automatically eligible for DIC. You do have to be married for at least 1 year. Mm-hmm. And I've run into it a couple times. Wisconsin does not recognize common law marriage. So I've had a couple people come to my office. Oh, we've been together for 35 years. We've never got married. It's like, get married. Go down the hall, and even if you don't got to have a big marriage, a big wedding, you don't got to have a big party. Just go down and get the paperwork taken care of. Just
make it legal.
Exactly, just to protect your spouse if you do pass away.
Right.
So the DIC is something that we always look at too, is if that's something that we can chase after for the spouse. And there's a lot of different things that go into it too. There's a lot more intricacies, but I just wanted to let people know that benefit is out there. And if you have questions on if you may be eligible for it or not, reach out to your county veteran service officer, and we can take a look for you.
I think that's the most important thing here, and that reach out to the VSOs, and they do amazing work in all over the state. But of course we work quite closely with the ones in Jackson County and of course Trempealeau County and Buffalo County. They'll advocate for you. They will. They'll go to bat. They'll fight tooth and nail to try to get what's rightfully yours, and they do a great job at it. So I think that's something to keep in mind.
I hear it all the time in my office. People are like, "Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Can I answer it quick?" "Oh, I'm down at the VA office." It's a very common misconception. We do not work for the VA.
No.
We are county employees. I tell people all the time, I don't work for the VA. I like to fight with the VA. Because the VA does a lot of good for a lot of people, and I don't like to talk bad about the VA because they take good care of me too when I go down to the Toma for my medical appointments and stuff. But when they do mess up, that's what the VSOs are for. We're here to advocate for the veteran, not for the VA. You're not going to catch me, defending the VA when they mess up. I'm here to advocate for the veteran and try to get the VA to fix their mess up. So
the thing about the VA, it's like when I go down to the hospital, and if you're in the hospital, whatever the case might be, there's so many hallways and so many different places. You get lost. If you don't know where you're going, you can easily get lost.
Right.
And the VA is a huge organization, and like any huge organization, it can be very confusing. Unless you know what hallway to go down and who to talk to and what department, it can be really confusing, and that's where you guys come in.
Yep, absolutely. And there's a lot of different benefits and stuff that are out there that, I'll never claim to know it all, but I will tell you if I don't know, and I'll find you the answer. And like I said, the VA does a lot of good for a lot of people. There's always going to be, humans are humans. There's going to be human error. Stuff gets messed up, but we're usually pretty good about arguing it and trying to make it right for people. So, yeah.
One thing too, if you call, leave a message.
100%.
Because they don't know you called if you don't leave a message.
Right. Yep. I get it on my phone every day. I have 3 missed calls but no voicemails. It's like, well, if you don't leave a voicemail, I'm not going to call you back. Especially, I can't speak for the other offices, but in Jackson County, if you call and leave me a message, you're getting a call back within usually an hour, because I hate seeing that flashing light on my office phone. So call or email, and we'll get back to you pretty quickly.
All right. If people want to reach you by phone, what's the best way to do that, Hunter?
Yep. Give us a call, 715-284-0225. That phone number will ring right to my benefit specialist, Brenda Schultz's desk, and she will get you on the schedule. If you need to call me, you want to call my desk, the number is 715-284-0226, and that rings right 2 feet in front of me when I'm sitting at my desk. So,
all righty. Hunter, always good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Some really good information, too, regarding death benefits. So, something extremely important, and realize that the veteran service officers are there to help you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, always good to see you. We'll see you next month again.
I'll be here.
It'll be the end of May.
That's crazy. My birthday is May 31st. I'm getting old.
You're kidding. How old are you going to be?
29.
Oh, my God. I got T-shirts older than you. I really do. Hunter Rudnic, Veteran Service Officer with Jackson County. Always good to see you. And next week we'll be talking with Joe Quackenboss or Wade Besselik from Trempealeau County. Anyway, Hunter, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are the American Legion family. This includes the American Legion Auxiliary, the Sons of the American Legion, and the Legion Riders. If you are a veteran, a spouse of a veteran, a child of a veteran, or your grandparents have served, you may be eligible to join our family. This is Brian Liga, commander of the Trempealeau County Council of the American Legion, and if you are eligible, I invite you to join one of the Legion families.